Hello, everyone, and welcome to episode 105 of the All in Football Fantasy Premier League show and podcast. I am your host, the self-proclaimed FPL guru, Alex Rex. Joining me again are my usual suspects, Barry Stokes and Scott Williams. Barry, where in the world are you today?
I'm in London, ready for the cup final. So it's all exciting, to be honest. Can't wait.
No, get your suit ready. That's what you need. I'm surprised you didn't wear it today, mate. Surprised you didn't wear it today.
That's the next week.
Bet you attempted. Scott,
when I'm winning, holding up the trophy.
Yeah. Whoa, big talk against the man who's top of the league. Scott, how are you doing?
I'm all right.
Thanks. And so am I. I'm doing really well. And so well, in fact, that I've got absolutely nothing to play for going into this final game week of the season. But all the same, we're going to have a really good chat about the players that we should be looking at picking, the fixtures that are there, who's got something to play for, just try and help you pick your final players to help you propel yourselves up your mini leagues. So thank you so much for joining us. Don't forget to follow us on our social media platforms, Pod, P, Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok. Do not forget to like this video on YouTube and subscribe to our channel and join our legion of followers. Small legion, but they're still a legion. And also don't forget to give us 5 stars wherever you get your podcasts from. So let me get started with Manager of the Week from a bumper game week 37. So we have Eze Work. I'm a fan of that name, Jack Lewis. I like it. 152 points, game week rank 11k out of 11 million. So well done to you. Vicario in goal. Then the big scoring defense of Gusto with 13, Porro with 10, and Gvardiol with 27. Son, Foden, Gordon, and Palmer, Howland captain, Jackson and Isak. And he played his bench boost with Onana, Fernandez, Byrne, and Gabriel with 20 points on the bench boost. So well done to you, Jack. There were some fantastic scores this week, actually, across the league. And we saw 135 from Richard Kirk, 145 from Ali Farrell, 140 from David Byrne, 136 from Callum Burnett. Some really, really good scores there. And it's meant that it's really tight, actually, at the top going into the final game week of the season. There is 12 points in it between Richard Kirk and Ali Farrell, who are miles now clear of David Byrne, Callum Burnett, and Marco. It's the two of them. They're on it. It's a big day for Richard Kirk on Sunday. I mean, you put yourself in his shoes. I'd be nervous. You're on for the double. You could end up with nothing. You could end up with all the trophies. It's a big moment. 12 points in it, lads. 12 points in it. That brings us on quite nicely, Barry, to the cup final. You went for 2 cups in 3 years. How are you feeling?
Nervous, to be honest. We'll see. It'd be nice, obviously, to win it, but the guy's running like God, isn't he? So I'm massive underdog. But end of the day, you've got to be in it to win it. And obviously, the teams I've come up against, I have struck a bit lucky.
Long dog Barry.
But yeah, it could be written in the cards. Hopefully, it is. But it's great to actually be in it.
Have you played anyone that does their team other than Cully so
far?
Literally, and you've played the hitman himself, Cully Matheru, who'd already, as usual, blown all of his chips by the time it got to this point. Cully plays the same every season. I love watching how Cully plays FPL. She goes mad and uses everything. Comfortable wins every week as well for you.
Well, it's not hard when you play someone who doesn't run the team. So,
you say that. I got knocked out by Ash Norris, so it's not that easy. I got knocked out by a guy who didn't even do his bloody team. Richard Kirk's had a slightly more difficult run to the final. Played Christopher Barras, who got 90 points last week. Played some guy called Scott Williams in game week 36. That was a close run thing, Scott, to be fair. 13 points.
Was it?
12 points.
Was it? Oh, fantastic. Yeah, it's that pointless Newcastle. Oh, yeah. We'll move on.
Yeah, and he beat Phil Hallam by 8 points. Phil plays. Phil does his team, doesn't
he? Yeah, Phil does. Yeah, he's a regular listener as well. He's doing really well. He started about 3 weeks after, and he's like up to 30th in our league, so he's smashed it.
Yeah, he's done pretty well. Yeah, of course. Yeah, he started a week late, didn't he? I do remember that. He's nearly passed me already.
Sorry, 3 weeks late.
3 weeks late. He's nearly passed me. He started 3 weeks late. great season. He beat our local celebrity, Liam Ormsby, in game week 34, which Liam got 97 points, which is a nosebleed for Liam. And he absolutely smashed Gavin Webb to pieces in 33. And Gavin Webb's one of our most seasoned FPL managers. I mean, that's a tough first round draw. And Gav got 45 points compared to 105 for Richard. I mean, that's a crazy one because Gav does his team really. He's up to, I think, second or third in our work league as well now. He does his team every week. So interesting. So
sounds
exciting.
Like a brown envelope job to me.
What sounds like what?
Brown envelope. Let me get through TikTok. Brown envelope.
How much have you paid everyone every week?
Don't answer. They weren't playing.
I didn't even know they were in the cup, did they? So let's talk about game week 38. And I want to start off by talking about who has something left to play for. That's normally a good place to start. So the Premier League table as it stands, we've got Manchester City and Arsenal, who are both going for the title. Manchester City need to win the league title, because if they draw and Arsenal win, then Arsenal win the league title on goal difference. So both of these teams are must-win games, and they're both on great form. They won the last 5 in a row. In fact, probably a little bit more than that for City. So relatively obvious that you want to be stacking up on players from City and Arsenal. Liverpool and Aston Villa both have nothing to play for. They're going to be in the positions that they are anyway. Liverpool play Wolves and Aston Villa play an informed Crystal Palace. Those are the only two dead rubbers. Everybody else has got something to play for in some way, shape or form in every fixture, if you still count that Forest and Luton have something to play for, that is. With the ridiculous goal difference. Probably not the case, is it? Spurs need to get something from their game against Sheffield United to guarantee themselves a 5th spot and a Europa League spot, because don't forget, if whoever comes 6th, if Man United win the FA Cup, that person who comes 6th will play in the Conference League and Man United will play in the Europa League. So 5th is important still to get. So Spurs play Sheffield United, and they still obviously have something to play for there. They need to get a result. They've lost 4 in a row, but then obviously they lost 4 in a row, won their game, and then lost to City. Chelsea, one of the informed teams in the league. If they win and Spurs lose, Chelsea are 5th. Who saw that coming? Because I certainly didn't. They've absolutely sailed up the league quite recently. Newcastle and Man United both on 57 points. Man United have to better Newcastle's result to guarantee themselves European football. And Newcastle have to equal Man United's results to guarantee them that as well. So that's what everyone's really got to play for. Obviously, at the bottom, we've got Luton, who are 3 points beneath Nottingham Forest with a 12-goal difference. Negative 31 compared to negative 19. It's going to take Burnley to smash Nottingham Forest to pieces and Luton to smash Fulham, I think it's who they've got, to pieces Fulham as well. Yeah, Fulham at home. So that's what people have got to play for.
But saying that, Forest did throw away a six goal deficit and made Swansea get to the playoffs.
Oh. When was that? Was that last year? When was that? Last year, obviously not last year. When was that?
No, I think that's when we got Swansea got promoted. So yeah, so thank you.
Very good memories for you there, Baz. So let's start talking about these fixtures. Scott, can we go barring the obvious, City and Arsenal? Out of the teams that have got something to play for and the fixtures that are on there, which teams are you looking at and going, yeah, probably could invest in this? Because most of us will have 3 City and 3 Arsenal anyway. Are you looking at maybe the informed Chelsea or someone like go on?
Chelsea have got to be looking at them. They've really sorted themselves out a bit this season. I think having quite a consistent starting 11 has really helped that. When they splashed all the money, it's all well and good, but you've got like 18 players, thinking they should be starting a game of football. You can't keep everyone happy, especially when you're not been in Europe, or anything like that this season. So he's not like being able to rotate. So having that, weird as it sounds like, having a few injuries, I think in a weird way might have helped them because they've been able to have a structured team. The defence has been sorted out a little bit. They got back-to-back clean sheets against Spurs and West Ham. Forest game was always going to be a tricky game, regardless. Forest were playing with freedom. The crowd was bouncing. So actually, I think that was a really impressive win to get sneak the win there last weekend. And Brighton, down the years, has never been an easy fixture at home. And if it wasn't for a Reece James red card, they potentially could have kept another clean sheet there. So yeah, looking really good at the moment. You've got Nkunku, seems to be now back in the team.
He will be with Mudryk's injury, won't he? Yeah, he will be. He'll probably start, won't he?
It definitely will be now. Yeah, Mudryk's out with concussion, isn't he? If he wasn't, I would say Mudryk would be one you could have kept an eye on, because he was looking a bit more like what we expected when he signed for big money last season. But yeah, you've all got Palmer, potentially got Jackson. If not, I would be looking at the person we mentioned last week, Madueke. Obviously, if you're going for someone a bit different, I feel like Nkunku could be a bit of a differential at home to Bournemouth. I feel like that is a tasty fixture.
What do you? There's been some really weird narratives around at the moment that I've been hearing. So I took in a bit of FPL content today. I don't really do that much of it, really. I find a lot of very samey and a bit dull. But I took in some content on one of the podcasts that Fantasy Football Scout put out, and there's a weird narrative going around that Cole Palmer's not quite looking himself at the moment, and a little bit not out of form, but not quite looking as dynamic as he has done. He's returned in all of his last 4 games. I don't really understand where this is coming from at all. Is it an eye test? Player, isn't it?
Yeah, it potentially would be an eye test. I didn't watch the game last night, but I think we mentioned on the pod last week that he wasn't looking as dynamic. We've said it down the years about players like Salah. You're like, oh yeah, Salah's not looked good this season, and then you look, he's second in the goal scoring chart or whatever he has been in the last couple of years. The fact that Cole Palmer has returned 8-6 last 4 game weeks and has not looked his formidable best still says, like, if he looks his best, he'll be hitting double figures there. So you cannot be doing with Cole Palmer not in your team. He's still performing even if he's not looking great, but he's also probably not looking as good because finally other players in Chelsea have stepped up and have started doing some of the heavy lifting. Like I did say, I was getting more impressed with Mudryk, Nkunku, Jackson. I think Conor Gallagher, maybe not from an FPL perspective, but from a football perspective, looked very good as well. So I think that it's easy to look good when you're the one scoring 2 goals in a 4-2 defeat or 5-2 defeat, isn't it? But actually, everyone else has put their ideas up a bit, so that's probably another reason as well.
I totally agree with you about almost like the injuries have helped in terms of a consistent starting 11. So like you can name Chelsea's team against Bournemouth, or bar whether he starts Disasi or Silva with Badiashile, can't you? Really, he's going to be Gusto and Cucurella now, especially with James being suspended. He's going to play Caicedo and Gallagher, and then he's going to play Nkunku with Palmer, Madueke, and Jackson. So knowing that team, it makes a huge difference. I know a lot's been made of injuries for a lot of teams this year, but consistency. We know that from playing 5-a-side, mate, don't we? For years and years. Like if we had the same 6 or 5 or 6, like we always win more games in a row than what we do if we. This team I'm putting together tonight, and if Jack, you do listen to this, obviously it's Jordan and one of your other mates, and we're playing 5s tonight. There's no subs, and I've never played with one of the other lads. I mean, wish us luck. I mean, it's going to be difficult to start with. Baz, talk to me about Chelsea and options and who you think would be a good option to go for, and also, defenders a little bit more. Maybe guys, would you look at Gusto 4.3? Would you look at someone like that as well if you're looking at a defensive transfer? Not that we'd ever recommend doing one in game week 38, really, because it's a bit boring. But I'm putting it on you.
Yeah, I think Petrovic and Gusto is probably your only ones, really. Cucurella's been coming up with some assists as well, so he could be a shout. But the only problem is Chilwell's coming back, and he might have said to Gaffer and says, "Look, I need to be playing. I want to get into the Euro squad because there's no really left back at the moment because Shaw's obviously still injured. So that could be obviously playing on the mind. But Cucurella's looked quite good actually. Defensively doesn't look good, but going forward, he's coming good, and he's obviously getting returns now with a couple of assists as well. So he'll be good. Petrovic in goal. He's gonna stay. Obviously got on. Well, I didn't see the game, but I saw Palmer's header. It was a good header. He came across, and Cucurella with a cross. Good glancing header into the far top corner. So that was a great finish on his front. But the James, like Scott mentioned, the James injury, red cards. I'm usually saying injury because he's always injured.
It's a very, very easily fraudulent slip, mate. That
Yeah,
one. So very easily done.
So yeah, with that, obviously that's affected it massively. They brought Thiago Silva on to try and solid it up, but unfortunately it didn't happen. Welbeck scored and João Pedro got the assist. So yeah, for me it would be Petrovic or either of the fullbacks. I think you could potentially look at attacking returns for the centre halves, going up for corners, but you don't.
I think
you want something that's going to be concrete.
Yeah, when you look at the centre half, Badiashile started every game since game week 34, but no attacking returns in there. Cucurella's got 90 minutes every week since game week 28, and he's got 3 assists in there. So Gusto, again, is someone who's featuring quite a lot. In terms of differentials, I like Madueke still at 1.4%. I really like the Nkunku shout. I think I've randomly got a free hit left at the end of this season. I've just decided to have a bit of fun in the last game week potentially, and Nkunku's been in quite a lot of my drafts for free hits. I think he's just a really good player. Seems like he looks like a really good player.
As he should. He'll probably play down the middle, and Jackson might move over to the wing.
He just feels a bit. It could be either or. I feel like I'm going to have Palmer and Nkunku in free hit team with maybe one of the defenders as well. Just because I think they're one of the teams that have got something to play for, and obviously are in good form, which makes a big difference. Baz, another team that you're potentially looking at out of these lot?
Another team for me would be either Liverpool or Luton. The reason why I'm saying Liverpool is because Klopp's last home game, so they're going to be up for it. And I think Harvey Elliott's looked really good recently. Everything's coming through him. Then obviously usual suspects of Diaz and Salah. And also a player I don't really like, but he has been amongst the goals, is Gakpo. So he could be a good potential shout for someone.
I was going to bring up Gakpo because in terms of his form, he's right up there in terms of numbers. He's got 2 goals and an assist in his last 2 games. He started the last 3 90 minutes in 2 of them. Obviously came off after 74 against Villa when they were trying to shore it up. Seems like Darwin's definitely out of favour at this very moment in time. Jota's being injured. Yeah, Gakpo's got to be somebody that people look at in terms of a last minute differential at 2.5% ownership. Sorry, carry on about Liverpool. Elliott was another good shout, 0.3% ownership as well.
So Elliott and also on the list is Quansah scored a good header. It was his fault for the Watkins one, but he made amends from it and scored a bullet header. But the risk is Konate going to start? But he did play quite well, and I think he's good going forward. He's
started 4 of the last 5. 90 minutes in his last 3 games, Quansah, and including 1 goal. I'd be surprised if he gets dropped.
Yeah. So yeah, and then obviously you've got your usual suspects as well. Is Robertson going to be fit? Because he'd be a good differential for people at 4.5. So I think quite a lot of people will try and obviously get on the Trent boat, but obviously Trent is a lot of money. So if you haven't already got him, then no one's really going to bring him in unless they've got a free hit left or they've got a lot of surplus cash to waste. So yeah, that's my really take on Liverpool. And for Luton, it'll probably just be Adebayo. Just have a little punt on him. I think he scored some good crucial goals and as we touched about, I think it was last week or one of the previous pods, that he'll probably be in the Prem next season. So
Scott, in terms of Liverpool, I agree with that, Baz, by the way. Scott, in terms of Liverpool, Trent's played in the last 6 games, but only got 1 return. Would you, if you're even looking at him, would you gamble in terms of the money on him, and then other Liverpool assets? Talk to me about who you think stands out.
I think it's worth a punt still. Again, we'll go back to the eye test. I can't remember if I've even had Trent in my team this season, but he looks like he's very close to getting returns. Like he's still got that delivery. He's still looking really, really dangerous. He at the weekend, the weekend I think he hit one with his left, like a really, really great technique, and he made a great save. So I think Trent is worth a punt. Let's be honest, it's last week of the season. I think we've said this most ends of the season. Top players in if you want to have a bit of fun with it. He's an exciting player to get in. And I agree with Baz. I think it'd be 5 or 6-0. I know you're a big Gary O'Neill fan, mate, but Wolves have been atrocious. Like I've really not been impressed by him. The fact that he's been linked with a Man United job, I think, is outrageous.
Has he?
You know, he just complains a lot.
No way. That's never happening.
He complains a lot, and he balls me quite a lot. I don't particularly like him. I'll be honest with you. I just want to call that out on this podcast. I'm not a fan of Gary O'Neill.
The Wolves have got the worst.
I didn't like him as a player either, to be honest with you. Anyway, Gary, yeah.
Wolves have got the worst goals conceded on average in the game week 38 in Premier League in the history of the Premier League FPL since 2012. I think this is from. Since they concede 2.8 goals on average in game week 38, because normally they're on the beach, aren't they?
Yeah.
So these statistics always make me look and go, oh. Obviously, there's a few that Sheffield United, I think, have only been in 2 seasons. They haven't conceded a goal in the last day yet. But yeah, there's a few of these that I always find interesting. And goals scored per game. Thank you to FPL Discomfort, Kieran, for these, by the way. I follow him on Twitter, and I think these statistics are great. He puts together. They only score 0.4 goals on average, where Spurs are the best scorers with Arsenal at 3.3 goals per game in game week 38. And I think we'll probably see something similar. City at 2.89 and Liverpool at 2.56. You know, those are the best on average returns. So again, we've looked at City and Arsenal. We all know. I've got a couple of quick fires on those in a minute, but Liverpool and
I think Salah as well. If you've not got him, you could make move. I think will it be his last game for Liverpool?
I'd have thought so. I think
so. He'll want to go out. He'll want to go out, won't he? On a high. So
he got 1 return since game week 33. Well, 1 return, 1 game he's returning since game week 33. Would that worry you for the size of the investment? Because I've got genuinely, this is the thing for me. If I don't have Salah, I can do so much more with my free hit. But I'm like, do I not free hit Salah?
I think the reason I would have the situation where I would have Salah in is if I'm needing half a miracle to win my league, and I'm like, well, no one else is going to have Salah probably. People have probably took him out a couple of weeks ago, and you're probably not getting him back in. And we talk about eye test. He's not looked great at all. He's not been in games. He's really been on the edge of games. He's not getting involved at all. But again, I go back to my previous point. Wolves are terrible, and Salah can just turn around like he did against Spurs and get a 13-point haul. So if I'm the one chasing my league, essentially just going to get Salah in, slap the captain's armband on him, hope that it's a Klopp's last game. It'll be sunny. Salah's probably potentially going, and pray for a hat trick. I think he gets a hat trick on Sunday. I think Klopp comes up last minute and gets a header as well.
I'm backing now. 6-0 Liverpool, Salah hat trick. Going to go to bookies.
Put it on.
After the Everton shout from Scott of a week, I'm going for it.
I know my Liverpool. You don't know Liverpool like I know Liverpool.
You're finishing the season well with these shouts. Yeah, and to back this one, Wolves' last 7 games, their expected goals conceded is the same as Sheffield United's at 13. They have conceded 16, so they've underperformed against that. In terms of goals scored, they've scored 7. Again, the same as Sheffield United and Luton. But only Brighton, I think, have scored less. And near enough, I think it's one of those. Brighton and I'm sure there was another team. Fulham. Fulham have scored less. They are not.
Both on the beach.
Well, yeah, exactly. I mean, Wolves, like you say, Scott, Wolves are not looking good. So there would be a team you'd be looking at targeting against. Let's do the Spurs chat, shall we? They're playing the worst team in Premier League history defensively. So we've got a team like Spurs who, I know they've lost 5 of the last 6, but they've all been pretty difficult games. They did beat Burnley and scored some goals. Barry, Spurs, talk to me. Who are we looking at investing in? And who are the best players from there?
Well, I'm quite shocked everyone here by Michelle, but Kulusevski came on. I don't know if it was because he's an Arsenal fan, but he came on and he really wanted to score. He was doing everything to either get into Andrew's plans, or he just wanted Arsenal to win the league because there was an old photo of him with Thierry Henry or something like that when he was younger.
Was there really? I didn't see that.
Yeah.
I thought it was just he was annoyed because he got dropped for the first time in 4 games.
Yeah, so for me, it looked like he wanted to prove a point, and he could be a good differential for someone. The only problem is he going to start? I think he will do, because obviously how well he played, and Maddison looks out of sorts, and he's kind of playing himself out of plans, really, to be honest. So
yeah, isn't he?
And Son's not looked great. I think there's only probably Brennan Johnson and obviously Kulusevski who came on who looked good, to be honest. But yeah, that's really it. Yeah, he can go defensively, but it's boring transfers, isn't it? Like a Porro. But yeah.
Scott, what do you make of Spurs?
Yeah, it's been a tricky last few games, isn't it, for him? I mean, Son nearly did hand the back to Arsenal though if it wasn't for Ortega. Where's his stadium going to be? Statue going to be outside the stadium. I mean, what a few clutch saves they were at the end, and that 1-on-1. I said to speaking to my manager before I left, I went to her, do you hate Son now? And she was like, you just can't hate Son. I was like, no, you can't. But yeah, I wouldn't really want to. You want to invest, but you don't want to invest. I feel like playing Sheffield United, you'd be silly not to have an attacking player. I agree with Baz. He looked like he was on a mission for Kulusevski when he came on. Again, if it wasn't for Ortega, he would have scored at the weekend. Sorry, midweek. So yeah, he would be the one I would punt on. But again, is he going to start? I think he will. So I've just copy and pasted Baz's answer, really, which I hate to do. But I would go for one Spursy player, and it would have been Johnson or Kulusevski. But fine, I'll just go Kulusevski. But I think Maddison should be squeaky bum time. It's a position where we've got some of the best players in the world. That kind of that number 10 position, he's not playing well. I think he will still be on the plane. I think he's pretty close.
It's really tight, isn't it? At the moment, he's quite easily sacrificed, isn't he? I think that's the tough thing.
I think when we do our England squads, it will be an interesting one once I've got all the players in front of me. Actually, to have a little look at it, that'll be an interesting one because if it comes down to like him or a Cole Palmer, there's no question.
Well, I think it's probably going to be, not to labour the point because I know we'll do this later, but it's probably like him or like a Bowen, isn't it? It's going to be that sort of, or take an extra, or take Tony and probably not taking Tony, but like with that sort of line, isn't it? It's those sorts.
I think
the
bigger squad's going to save him, isn't it? The fact that we're going to take more players this year.
Is it a bigger squad? I thought it was small. I thought it was 23 again. Is it 20 or 26? I thought it was 23 again.
I think it's 26, yeah.
Oh, fab. I will say for Spurs, they've played the bottom. Great start. They played the bottom 3 teams a total of 5 times this year. Of course they have. They've got 1 game left. They've scored 12 goals across those games, so they've averaged more than 2 goals a game against these teams. Not massive ceilings from that perspective, but what I would say is that I think Heung-min Son is. These things. Son's owned by 1 in 3 teams, so probably a bit of a differential towards the top of your league, potentially. Worth investing. I think if you're going to go for a defender, Van der Ven's been getting forward quite a lot recently. He looks interesting. So does Romero, but Porro's on a lot of set pieces when Maddison's not on the pitch. So I think if you've got a budget issue, Van der Ven at 4.4 is still a really good shout.
Played fullback as well, didn't he? Last game. I guess a bit more. Will he do that? He'll probably change it up a bit, though. I guess. Dragovic, whatever his name is, he'll probably come back out.
Dragusin. Dragusin.
Yeah, I think it was playing left back to cover Walker, wasn't it?
Yeah,
for play. So, but the thing is, he looked decent on it anyway, and even if he's playing through the middle, in terms of centre half, I think he's still a good shout at 4.4. It'd probably be in my free hit team because he's a good budget defender, and I'll probably have Son on him and maybe one other. I don't know. I've already filled up my midfield. Apparently, it's very easily done this year. Every single time we talk about it. I'll do the quick fire on Arsenal while we've got them. Quick yes or no. Do you think they keep a clean sheet against Everton, Baz?
Yes.
Scott?
Yep.
So if you've got the choice, do you double up on attack or double up on defence? Because that's the question, isn't it? Because you probably
depends how boring you are in life.
Defence.
You want to double? Well, Baz is boring. Scott.
Depends if you prefer margarine or full fat butter. I'm a full fat butter one. Give me that Lurpak slightly salted all day, every day, if I can hold it, which I can this year in fantasy. Give me that. Slap it on some best of both Obis, and we're away. Double up on that attack. Lay back, get a cocktail, watch the boys fly.
Right, you're 2 defenders then, Baz, and you're 1 attacker.
Obviously,
Obviously, including the goalkeeper potentially.
It'd be White and Saliba. And Havertz.
Saliba over Gabriel's interesting because that's tight. I think that's close, isn't it? But Saliba, I think I'd go Saliba actually. I've just rated him all year.
He gets more bonus points than Gabriel, so I think he's the better shout. And White just goes forward and just looks frightening, whereas Saka's not really been not really been playing that well, to be honest, in my eyes. He's not passing the eye test more than Havertz. So that's why I'd go for Havertz. And plus, the budget issues as well might be the issue of that, since White and Gabriel are the most expensive for Arsenal in defence.
Scott, 1 defender / keeper, of course. Ryan McMillan.
Benjamin White.
Yeah. And then attackers. Who are you 2 then? Because we can basically call their front 3, can't we? It's Havertz, Trossard, and Saka with Ødegaard behind. So which 2 of those?
Yeah, Havertz looks good. Returning, been one of the best players in the league this season. And the outformed Saka that's only got 24 points in the last 3 game weeks. I would probably squeeze him in.
Crazy, isn't it? Trossard's got to be a shout. I know he never finishes a game, but he scored 5 in his last 7.
I brought him in draft a couple of weeks ago because I thought he was looking really good, and he's returned as well. Yeah,
started all the last.
Again, I think if you're looking for a little bit of a outsider, you'd probably bring your Trossard in for Saka.
Totally agree. I think this man here is one of the main players you should be looking at bringing in as a differential this week. That'd be it'll be in one of our differential drafts, won't it? Let's be honest. So, but he's gonna be in. He's on form. Doesn't matter if he's not playing 90 minutes. He's still returning in every game. So yeah,
Well, I'll tell you what. Sorry, I've just looked at someone even more of an outside shout. Declan Rice. He's done all right.
Sorry, were you looking at Declan Rice again? you look at Declan Rice every week. Don't you say? I'm just surprised. He's just popped up on my screen. He's like your favourite player in the league.
I have got trying to him.
Yeah, I think you do as well. So I think from an Arsenal perspective, I know we did the quick fire to start with, but yeah, Trossard would be the differential. But Havertz, White, and probably Saka is the obvious ones. the question to ask you boys about City is, especially after last week's performance from Guardiola, Haaland, and then is it Foden and Guardiola? Are they the three that you would look at if you were on the free hit, Scott?
If you're top of that table, and well, if you're top of the league and you're like, right, I just need to hold people off, they are the three you're going to put. Your ones when you're chasing, I think you have Guardiola, just because, yeah, he done. We've said it about players in the past. He doesn't know where defense is. He's just constantly in that final third. His finish against who was it against? It was brilliant. Fulham, yeah, so good, so impressive.
Week before as well.
Yeah, and he took that away like he was a seasoned striker. So he would be one. I don't think, regardless of his top, I think him and Foden you'd have regardless. No, him and Haaland, you have some tough Bob. Bernardo Silva's looked really good. Like he didn't return midweek against Spurs, but he looked really dangerous. As I said, like the eye test again, he would be one that I would be potentially looking at, and he's only 2.7% owned, and he's gonna play. He's one of the players that Pep has really trusted this past few games. So he would be the other one I would look at.
I, again, completely agree. He just doesn't quite return enough, which is why Trossard's the differential pick over Bernardo, like in terms of the guy that you'd go for out of the two of them. But yeah, it's going to be, because he's going to play. I think one of the other players that if De Bruyne is injured, which is always the conversation, someone like Alvarez might be a shout as well at 6.4 from Bevis. He's 15.7% owned. Yeah, Bernardo's the guy. Yeah, so interesting on City. Right, let's go back to sorry, go on.
For me,
yeah, go on. Sorry, mate, did I miss you out?
It's all right, but obviously nicked my Bernardo Silva shout. So if KDB is injured, what about Doku? Came on, looked frightening. Told the defence a new one. Won the penalty.
He did look good when he came on. He's just full of pace and tricks, isn't he? I love watching him.
He's an interesting character. He got one assist.
He's an old-fashioned wing. He wants to go either side and just wants to just take him on.
Very different to Grealish, isn't he?
He is. And also it's the 16-point return and the 22-point return that make you go, this guy he's got a game in him where he could do something ridiculous. I mean, remember Bernardo had that last season, didn't he? But he got 11 points against
Gundogan as well, wasn't it?
Yeah, Gundogan, yeah. 11 points, 13 points. He's got 14 points and another 13, Bernardo. So they're not as exciting, though, are they? They're not as high as ceilings if you're challenging, as I always say, Scott, I know. But a 1.9% own for Doku, yeah, don't mind as a shout. I just don't think he starts. But anyway, that's a different conversation. Anybody else on these lists? We'll go. We'll probably be able to turbo through them a little bit faster now. Brentford, Newcastle. We've got Newcastle who have got something to play for. Anybody there that you'd look at and that you'd go, and we need to, you must have in terms of an investment, or
definitely not Trippier.
Looks a yard
after my gamble for free. It's his fault for Mainu's goal. I think Gordon is that, and Dubravka. Most people have got.
Yeah, Scott, any different on that one?
Yeah, I wouldn't be looking if I didn't have any Newcastle players. There'll be no Newcastle players coming in for me this week. But I'm also not probably getting rid. I'm definitely not getting rid of Isaac. I'm not getting rid of Dubravka. It's a country. That's a place. Dubrovnik. No, I was right first time.
Yeah, you were right. I thought you were right. Keep going.
Dubrovnik. I was there last year. What am I doing? Didn't bump into him at all. I'm not getting rid of the keeper. Maybe Dan Burn would go, but yeah, wouldn't get any in.
I think the Brighton United game could be anything, couldn't it? Let's be honest. So who knows what's going to happen there? Quite a few returning players. We seem to be scoring some goals. So I think from a draft perspective, if you want to gamble on someone like Ahmad or Garnacho, if you want to go him, then he's not a bad shot. I'm getting cars zooming past me. Burnley, Nottingham Forest. There's obviously something on the line there. Baz, your man Hudson-Odoi seems to be on great form.
Yeah, everything's come through. He scored a wonderful goal against Chelsea, and I think it being an ex-Chelsea player, it was kind of on the cards for it. A 1 year back as well. So are they going to drop Wood and start a 1 year? So he could be a good shout, and he's something like 1.2% owned as well. So yeah, so it's strange that Alanga's not starting, and you got everything that comes through Morgan Gibbs White. So
Yeah,
it's either Hudson-Odoi or Morgan Gibbs White, because unsure who's going to start up front. Is it Wood or is it a 1 year now he's fit? So
we had a weird issue with Callum Hudson-Odoi. He kind of got weirdly dropped for 2 games, didn't he? And then even though he was on decent form, I don't know, maybe it was an injury, I don't know, but it was a bit weird. But then he started every game now since game week 30. In that period of time, he's got 3 goals in his last 2 appearances. So he seems like somebody who we could be investing in, only 0.5% owned as a differential again, especially against Burnley. Gibbs White, Scott. Just because Baz has brought him up, I didn't even think about this, but he's got to be in with an outside shout instead of someone like Maddison for the year. I mean, like Gibbs White
again
has looked
I think
even better.
He's looked good in the Paul team again.
Yeah, fair enough.
But yeah, I think it's a decent play. I think he'd definitely go a lot higher. I think if Forest got relegated, which I mean, I'm still fingers crossed they get beat like 12-0 and go down, because I hate Forest. But if they did get relegated, he would not have been staying at that club. He's too good to be in the Championship. But yeah, I hope he goes a little bit higher, and I think he definitely can be in England's squad. I know he has been in the past.
Yeah, absolutely. He was part of that. Was it the Euros or the World Cup youth team that won, which was really good.
Yeah.
The other team that I wanted to point out before we move on to our differential draft, and then a couple of other topics I wanted to touch on outside of FPL, got to be the informed Crystal Palace team. They're playing an Aston Villa team who've already been on the beers, and they've been celebrating making Champions League. Palace look very, very good at the moment going forward. They've got 2 of the most informed players in the league in terms of Mateta and Elise. Could that be a game which ends up being something we should potentially target, Baz? They're at home against Villa.
Well, especially if Martinez throws him in, that always helps.
One of the best keepers. I heard he was one of the best keepers in the world. That's what I heard. I'm sorry. I think he's one of the most overrated goalkeepers I've ever seen in my life.
He has been Mr. Consistent for him, to be fair. So we'll let him off. It looked like he was in an Arsenal shirt. That's what he used to do for when he played for him.
He's got the same amount of clean sheets as Onana this year, by the way. It's mental, the press. Anyway, I think he's a good keeper, but he's never the best in the world. The Sky thing really annoyed me, actually. That's just touched the nerve. Sorry, carry on about Palace.
He doesn't make as many mistakes, but yeah.
That's what you think. He put in his own goal last week. Anyway, go on. Sorry. I'm getting annoyed. Carry on.
So, Mateta, Elise, and Eze, wow. If Palace keep hold of them, I think they could probably get top 8 easily. If they invest well and keep hold of Glasner, because apparently they've backed a 18 million release clause on him for just in case buying comes sniffing, because they apparently are. Right. So yeah, for me, I think you've got to probably get one of them in if you're free hitting like yourself, Ike. So I won't be ripping up your team, because, like I said, they've got nothing really to play for. Villa really haven't either. It could just be a boring 0-0. Can't see it being, but I think it could be one of them where both got flip flops on, and it might be shooting with the flip flops on. So hopefully I'm wrong, and it's like a 3-3 like the last Villa game. But yeah, if you're free hitting, I would gamble on him. But if I'm getting someone in, I'll be picking a team, a player that has got something to play for that team. So
Scott Mateta's got 7 in his last 7, which is pretty crazy. Elise has got 3 goals and an assist in his last 2. Palace have scored 3, 4, 1, 2, 5, 1, 2 in their last 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 games. Just to shout out Elise, Eze, Mateta, definite draft players. I think it's relatively obvious if they're not in teams already. I know I've got Mateta and Elise already in our draft. If you get them in, if not, but would you look at them in main as an outside punt?
Yeah, for an outside punt, someone like Mateta for Solanke seems like it would be a smart move to do. He's really impressed me last few games. He's strong, and my favorite thing about him is he just has his shirt tucked in. He just looks really smart, and I've got a hell of a lot of time for that. But no,
Mateta and
like,
Rice and his screensavers.
yeah, oh,
Rice has a shirt untucked though. How do you feel about that?
yeah, but he's beautiful, so he gets away with it. But no, it was always Mateta and Edouard, but Mateta's just really made that position his own. I think that'll be a high scoring game, like you say. I think Villa players have just been on the piss for about 5 days now, and rightly so, by the way. Great achievement, and I think if Emre doesn't get manager of the season, I think just piss off basically because he's done brilliant. But yeah, I'd look at like a Mateta for Solanke is one that I'm looking at probably doing this week.
I totally agree about the manager of the season thing because Luton are going down. That just means that he can't, doesn't it? Rob Edwards. And also because Arteta's not going to win the league, it kind of means he can't either. Like it's very. Those would probably be the ones that you'd have up there with him. Yeah, Unai Emery is manager of the season. I don't think there's any real doubt about that in my opinion. Yeah, differential draft, lads. Should we do it? Let's do. Baz, just go talk about the overall scores quickly. Yeah, don't linger on those. No need.
No, you can linger, mate, if you want.
No need.
Well,
What
talk
a
about
disaster.
obviously the performance anyway. So the guy is back. The guy is back. You can't keep a good guy down. He is back. 32 points. He beat us. Also, Chris Bowen beat us as well. He got 25.
Chris Brown, baby.
Alex performed really well. He got 10 from his players. And all of them had double game week fixtures.
I had nine fixtures, mate. 9 fixtures, and I got 10 points. That's what I had.
Yeah,
awful.
But you did pick Richarlison and Wilson, who both injured. But yeah, we'll move on from that. Scott got 18. So it was only Cunha that obviously done the damage for him, and he was only the single game week player that you had. And then quite similar with myself. I had Murphy that got an assist. Verbruggen did well in the first game week, and then Calvert-Lewin got an assist as well, even though you laughed at me for that pick. I won with 23, and my total is 702, so I'm winning on the overall scores on that. Scott got 18, as I mentioned, and he's on 658, and he's took second place. And Alex is at the bottom now on 654. So
I was leading this game week 28, wasn't I? No, I was winning.
You was, yeah, massively leading, and then my under 1% teams just clawed it back. So yeah.
You stopped trying, mate, and then you started doing even better.
No, it was logical. It was all planned. So the order is Alex goes first, then Scott, then myself.
Great. Can I just get Havertz in my team straight away, please?
Okay. I'm going to go for an under 1%.
All right, Baz.
All
right, mate. Ew, under 1%.
Was that Nkunku, was it?
Yeah.
It was, mate.
Just doing his bragging.
I'm going to pick Ortega as my goalkeeper.
Of course you are. That's the guy who's already won. Doing his Ortega in. I'm going to go for... I'm going to get my striker picked. I'm going to go for Baz's favourite player of all time, Cody Gakpo at 2.5.
Nice. I will go... I'll go for Trent, my under 10.
I'm going to pick Tomiyasu, under 1.
Here we go. Apart from
Ortega, he's more than.
Oh, is he?
Yeah.
I'll go for the main man, Trossard at 2.6%.
No, right, that's not my pick. I'll go for under 5. I'll go for Madueke.
I'm going to pick Hudson-Odoi.
Of course, you're picking Hudson-Odoi. You should. He's your man. He's your main man. As I try and fill.
Yeah. We all do. Don't worry
Do
about
you
it.
know what I'm going to do? I'm going to go for, this is probably a mistake, but Kaminsky at my 0.7% owned. I think Fulham are on the beach.
I'm going to go for, I think this person said. So it's not a typical me because I think it's been said. I think Trossard thinks. Correct.
Trossard has been said.
Listen,
Trossard has
Okay,
been said.
yes. I thought I had.
Yeah.
I thought he had points. Sorry.
Sorry.
I'm just going to go big on Chelsea.
Apparently so.
Right then, I will go for Madueke. No, I've already gone for that.
You've got him twice. No one else
Even
wants him,
I picked one.
Brilliant. No one else even wants him. You
What
picked him twice.
I've lost my head here. Sorry. What we're doing? Oh, I had a whole
midfielder or goalie?
I've lost my head. He's lost his head. I love it.
I'll get McAllister in. Why not?
Oh God! Well, he wasn't even on my list.
No,
He's gonna
Bernardo Silva.
Oh, he's gone Bernardo. I like that. And defensively, I will go for. I think I'm going to go for Van der Ven. Has he been picked? I don't think he has.
No.
That's me not concentrating on who else has picked who. Yeah, Van der Ven.
I'll go for Dean. Let's get Dean Henderson in.
I thought you were going for Luca.
And my strike to finish it off, Adebayo.
Yeah, I like that. Like the Adebayo. Right, so I've got Kaminsky in goal because he's made the most saves in the league this year and Fulham on the beach. Van der Ven at the back, Havertz and Trossard, my Arsenal midfield, and then Gakpo up front.
I've gone for
Dean Henderson. Oh, all right. Sorry.
I've
gone for Ortega, Tomiyasu, Hudson-Odoi, Bernardo Silva, and Adebayo.
Yeah, nice.
Dean Henderson, Trent, McAllister, Madueke, and
I like all of our teams this week. I think there are a lot of really good options in there. I really like the fact that Scott's gone for McAllister in midfield. I think that's a good different shout. And I bet that pays off. I'm telling you, I've smashed the mirror at some point, Scott. I'm slating the McAllister pick. That's the one I was like, what's happened there? I bet he delivers. You've done really well. Well done. Bet on him now.
He scored 10 points against Sheffield United. So that's a relegated team. And they're playing basically relegated informed team in Wolves. So 10 points incoming.
Why not?
He gets all three assists for Salah's hat-trick. There we go.
Can see that. I was like, Harvey Elliott might get picked then. I thought Baz was going to put Harvey Elliott in his team, but he went for Bernardo instead, which is disappointing.
Yeah, Elliott was on my list, and I was like, we built up Bernardo Silva, and I thought, I've got to pick him.
He's 2.7% owned, Baz. He's not 0.3 like
I know,
Elliott.
I had a nosebleed. I had a nosebleed.
Disappointed. The fans are disappointed. Guy is turned off.
Guy's crying.
You know what he's going to do? Bet he puts Elliott in and wins. So the deadline's 2:30 on Sunday, May the 19th, because all the kickoffs are at 4:00. They're all simultaneous. There's obviously a good chance of people getting some early team news as well for these fixtures. And there's always some leaks before the final game week of the season. So if you're super keen, follow a few people on Twitter. Probably Let's Talk FPL is the best guy, Andy, because he retweets the guys that put out the team news who are normally more reliable. To touch on captains before we go on to a couple of other topics that we'll do quick fire to finish off. Are we looking at Arsenal and City assets, or would we look at Chelsea and Spurs? Who's your captaincy on? Is it boring Haaland? What do we think, lads?
We've already established Liverpool winning 6-0 and Salah scoring a hat-trick, so you've got to slap it on Salah. But if you've not got him, it's a weird one, innit? I feel like Arsenal are not going to be as up for that as they maybe would have been. I feel like they know the title's gone. They know City can draw as well, right?
No. City can't draw.
No. Well, they know City's going to beat West Ham. So I would be going for a City asset for that exact reason, because they're going to be buzzing and Haaland's in good form. So I'd go Haaland.
Baz?
I'm going Haaland, just for the fact I think Richard Kirk's going to go Haaland, and I can't have anyone different. I need to obviously match that, because Haaland could just go on to turn into flames. I was contemplating going really random and going a Ben White
Well,
if I wanted to be different.
I think he'll keep a clean sheet, but so it's basically one return. But it's interesting because Everton have got the fourth best defence in the league, so it's difficult to captain an Arsenal. So you feel like Arsenal are going to win 1-0, 2-0, don't you? You feel like they're going to win 2-0. Trossard and Havertz with the scorers, of course. And you feel like those are the ones that's how that's going to go. Whereas like City, I feel like against a West Ham team that have kind of already said their buys, haven't they? It feels like they sort of signed off in the last home game against Luton. The kids on the pitch.
They probably don't want Arsenal to win the league as well. So,
well, I think that leads us quite nicely into one of the quickfire topics, Baz, because there was a lot of talk about Spurs not wanting to actually beat Man City in that game, and obviously I know the manager got a bit frustrated about it. And let's be honest, I think that from a player perspective, we all know that players will go on the pitch and want to win the game. Right, I think that's relatively. We can't question people's integrity when we don't know what their mindsets are. But as fans, I wanted to get the perspective from you guys, lads, because you're. I always get called a plastic fan, but you guys are proper fans of your clubs. You're a big Swansea fan, Baz. Scott, you're a diehard Scunthorpe fan. If I replaced Scunthorpe with Spurs and Grimsby with Arsenal, how would you feel as a fan? Would you be doing the Poznan? I'm talking exact same circumstances here. How would you feel?
I certainly won't be doing a Poznan. I won't be taking it that far and doing that. I think it just sums up how poor of a season, I guess, essentially Spurs have had. If the fans, the biggest win they can have is their biggest rivals not to win the league.
Yeah.
It's a tough one, because obviously if they win the league, they've still got a chance. They win that game, they've still got a chance to get in Champions League. And for me, as well as my big rivals may do, I still would like my team if we had a chance of Champions League. Yes, I would like my team to be playing in Champions League, because Villa, like you say, have got informed Palace playing last season, and your team's playing Sheffield United, so it's not like it's out of the question. So yeah, I would be wanting my team to win that. And you know what, Arsenal win the league, clap your hands, well done. You won't hear anything but that for a whole season until Man City win it next year. But your team's in the Champions League, and you can just crack on and worry about yourself. So I would rather my team win in that situation. Would I like my team to ever lose? If my team didn't have a chance of Champions League, probably. I'd hate to see Grimsby win it.
Yeah, well, I think that's the interesting factor, isn't it? So because they have something to play for still, if they'd have won, they'd have been 2 points behind, and with a better finish going into last game week. I heard a very fair thing of I really didn't want them to draw, because then they'd still probably just come fifth anyway, and then that would put the title into Arsenal's hands. But yeah, obviously, never what your team says. But Baz, how do you feel about it? Because football in rivalries, and it's it says it all for all YouTube watchers. Baz would do the Poznan and want his team to lose.
Of course, I don't want Cardiff getting anything over us and having bragging rights. I was distraught when they beat us earlier in the season, but then obviously we raided amends and beat them, because obviously we wanted to do the treble on them. But yeah, I would definitely not want them to do it. So for me, I'd happily just go, right, lads, down your tools, then walk in if you want.
The thing is, though, you as the Spurs fan there, it's like, oh yeah, you've still got Champions League, but you've got everything that comes with that. You've got players that you'll be able to attract because you're in the Champions League. I think it's just bigger. That's bigger than Arsenal winning it. Like, they've got to worry about themselves in the next 2 or 3 seasons, because you attract the better players because you're in the Champions League. You get the more revenue that comes with that. You build and build and build. So yeah, I'm surprised.
On a fan's perspective, then it's my take, but on a club's perspective, it's your take, Scott, for me.
I think a lot of fans. I think a lot of Spurs fans would have rather than won the game. When they were nearly scoring that, you could hear it in the crowd. I think it's one of those where they've gone 1-0 down, and Spurs fans are going, "Oh, sod it, yeah, we are going to lose, and let's just start doing the positive and messing about."
Yeah, that's exactly the point. I think, Scott. Like, I think when they start losing, because like the Spurs fan at work said to me, he said we didn't want to draw. That was just annoying because when we can't get Champions League and we hand it to Arsenal, like we don't want to draw. We want to either win or lose. He said to me, and I was like, kind of makes sense, really.
Mm-hmm.
So you're cheering your team to win, but as soon as they're like 1-0 down and there's like 8 minutes left and Son goes through, how was it even 8 minutes? Was it 6 minutes? It was close towards the end. Son goes through. He was like, I think I want him to score. But I'm not massively sure. So that was just interesting in it from a fan's perspective. Quickly on the something that I've noticed that's happening quite a lot at the moment, which is kind of annoying, is that players starting to throw their toys out the pram more and more often when they're getting substituted. Scott, what do you make of this? And do you think they just need to shut up and sit down and get on with it? It's part of the game.
I don't mind it every now and again, as long as it doesn't become a habit for players. Like, again, very different circumstances, but I've come off a five-a-side pitch before and I've not been subbed, but I've like kicked the ball and been really annoyed. A lot of the time, it's because of my own performance. It's because I know I've not played well. I'm annoyed at that situation. But yeah, I don't think there's situations where we're saying, oh, so-and-so's kicked off again, or, once every so often, I think is absolutely fine. You're showing a bit of passion. Maybe just got blown up a bit because it was quite a simple game, but I don't mind it. It shows that they care.
For me, I didn't understand the Bentancur one. I didn't think he really played that well, to be honest. He was on a yellow card, could easily probably got another tackle and got sent off. So for me, that one, I was like, what has he got something against Spurs? Has he got something against that seat? I don't know. He didn't want to sit in that one. I don't know. But for me, with the Ederson one, yes, he did fracture his eye socket. But he probably was thinking, right, I want to stay on, I want to keep a clean sheet for his personal goals. So for me, that might be the reason why. But yeah, after that knock, I think it was the right decision. They should have took him straight away and they wouldn't have that issue. Should have just gone, right, taking you off. A bit like what Ange did earlier with Romero early in the season, just took him straight off. Kind of
also, keepers very rarely go off injured. He's been hell unlucky. He's been substituted 4 times with injuries this season, and it's because he's a bloody good keeper and he's brave in situations like that and doesn't shrink it. So I think that some of it was the frustration that he's been subbed again, but also he could, again, very different. But yeah, the Bentancur one, bit of a strange one. He has had horrendous injury problems, so he probably just wants to play every game he can.
And maybe he's frustrated with his performance. Exactly what you said, Baz. He didn't play very well. And to Scott's point that he said, he gets annoyed with himself and he comes about. Me and you and I, Scott, are very similar in that sense. I get so frustrated with myself sometimes when I'm playing. It's so annoying. Like when you have to remember you're not very good sometimes. That's what I say to myself. I have to remember yourself. Don't have too high standards for you, though. But it's
sometimes for me. Sorry, sometimes for me, if we're like losing a game and I get subbed, then I'm like, no, I want to stay on. I want to get the team to win. So showing the passion, I was like, I want to thrive and drive the team forward. So maybe it could have been that coming out, maybe, but I think it's probably the latter where he's not having he's having a bad game and just wants to get off and just angry at himself.
Totally agree. I think the Ederson thing, I think he was rightfully annoyed because of everything that's happened with him. I think personally, I feel like people coming off because they've had bad games and whatever else, I'm just like, just shut up and sit down. It's a team game. If you're annoyed about it, kick off in the dressing room after, because you're just taking attention onto yourself, and I don't really like it personally. But yeah, the circumstances, for example, the Ederson one, I don't blame him for being annoyed. And also, why was he allowed to play on at all if he's knocked his eye socket? Surely you can tell that I'd be worried about the doctor's credentials in that sort of circumstance. That for me baffled me when I've seen his injury, actually. Last point, lads, because I know we've gone on just over an hour here. I wasn't even going to bring this up, but I've got to because the Premier League are voting on it. Quick fire on the VAR situation. And when I say quick fire, I mean maybe a couple of minutes, because it's never really a yes or no, is it? But yes or no, Baz? Get rid of VAR or keep VAR?
It's like what Anthony Gordon said about it. Get rid or make it better. That's basically what everyone wants.
Nailed it.
It's like, right, get it better. Get up to what Champions League standards are. Let the ref the game, and then you not get refs being lazy and making bad calls and things like that. And then you have to go back to VAR, and then the VAR's like, I don't want to give it because he's my mate and I'm making him look bad because he hasn't given it. Then for me, it's like, ref the game, then go, right, I'm unsure about this decision. Can you check it for me? And that's how VAR should be used. Not every little one, right, let's check to make sure that's right. Let's check to make sure that's right. So for me, that's my take on it. I think the refs need to ref the game and VAR to assist the ref when he thinks he's unsure about something.
So keep it and get it better.
Yeah.
Scott?
I thought Wolves, I read the document that I put together. I thought it was really well written and a lot of good points on there. Hate to do it again. Agree with Baz. You watch a Champions League game, it's nice. You just chill and watch Champions League game. Things are done quick. Things are done that, well. If football wasn't on TV, I would say get rid of that. I love watching Scunthorpe United and not have to worry about VAR and about a decision happening. And you know what? We should have probably had a penalty in our semi-final loss to Boston, but we didn't. And as much as we can debate it and that, it wasn't on TV. You can't zoom into all the angles, so you couldn't, dissect it that much. We can have a moan about it and we move on. Whereas if we get rid of VAR, you're still just going to have people saying, oh, God, we should need to bring blah, 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 blah. So they need to learn from the mistakes of the past 2 seasons and, look at where it's worked. It's worked well in Champions League and it's worked well in, the World Cup. And the World Cup, we barely mentioned VAR in the World Cup. And I bet we barely mentioned VAR in the Euros or, the Copa America. It's crazy. And then, they're going to have VAR in the playoff finals. And I really hope it just doesn't ruin that. Because like us as lower league clubs, I quite like going to my club and not having VAR. So yeah, just make it better. Put more accountability on refs. And, you've got to keep fans, on tune of what's going on in the rugby. They seem to, they have, the fourth official. They seem to keep fans engaged when they're doing stuff. Learn from other sports. Yeah, learn from other sports. Don't be so arrogant as, FIFA and be like, football, we're the best. You're not. You don't lead in a lot of stuff half the time. So learn from other sports as well. I bet you haven't looked at any other things like cricket as well. They have, the fourth official or whatever it's called. Learn, but make it better. But you can't get rid of it. You can't get rid of it.
It's massively backwards, isn't it? All the other leagues in the world have got it. Champions League have got it. International football's got it. You can't get rid of it.
No.
I think that's just an absolute no. You can't get rid of it. You've just got to make it better. And it's little things. It frustrates the life out of me when I watch Man United Newcastle and I see the most obvious penalty to Newcastle ever, and I'm like, oh God, well, fine, pen. And the thing is with VAR is I don't have a problem with it if that pen's given. Because you go, fair enough, happened quickly. Casemiro took the ball. It looked like Casemiro might have taken Gordon out in full speed. It didn't. It was just the fact that Amrabat took him out behind. It's an honest mistake by the referee, and it's an obvious penalty. So no problem. That's what VAR's for. Just give the pen. I
don't think they checked it. I think they just checked Casemiro's tackle. I don't think they checked. They
can't have just checked Casemiro's tackle because in the same frame you see Amrabat kick down his account.
Yeah, I think they missed it. I honestly think they missed it because I wouldn't it not given. I
think
think they've
it-
just checked Casemiro's tackle and gone, oh, he's won the ball, right? Or they just think it's like a little clumsy coming together and it shouldn't be given because it's not given anywhere else on the pitch. But he's clearly stopped him from running, and it's a penalty. Isn't it?
It's the time it takes as well. If I'm sat there and I'm like offside, that should take 4 seconds. You don't need to be pissing about, like doing intricate little things. Just it's offside. Like there was one the other day, it took 2 minutes. I'm like, it's offside. You can see it from here. There's no nothing to even worry about it. And it really does spoil the flow of the game. So I think, like I said, Wolves have got a lot of good points on that. Would I be devastated if it went? No, I wouldn't, but I think it needs to stay, but improve a hell of a lot. Look at other countries as well. I don't watch other countries' leagues, but they're probably doing better than us.
It's just it's all humans. It's all humans. This is the thing. So it's training. It's people. They've got to do it better. Like it's nothing to do with like the fact that we have a video. Some of the like humans operate the videos. The humans have got to be better. The problem is the people. That's what gets me every time. Like it's better. It's better in the Champions League. The people in the Champions League are just better operating it. It's a system operated by people. This is what it's. Yeah, sorry, Baz.
But they're less analysing it, as it mentioned. Basically, the ref just goes, right, can you check that for me? No, they're checking every single thing, and obviously they're worried about obviously the times as well. But they did get 96% of the decisions right, apparently. Premier League announced.
Great.
Yeah.
Got to improve, hasn't it? And Howard Webb's got to get a new suit for that show with Michael Owen. Because I mean, if he wears the same suit again, honestly, Jesus, and he needs to change his tone of voice as well and train his staff better. Anyway, lads, good chat. I think it's gone well. Looking forward to the final game week of the season. Looking forward to putting together some sort of weird free hit team that's probably the same as everyone else's. Looking forward to our wrap up show. So stay tuned, everybody. I don't know exactly what day the wrap up show will be yet because we need to get see if people can be on. If Richard Kirk or Ali Farrell and whoever else can maybe come and make it onto the show, and get some special guests in for the wrap up show, then that'd be great. And it'll be a bumper one as well because we'll probably do some previewing for the Euros as well. We might either record it at the same time, release them separately, or we might just do it all in one. I don't know yet. But yeah, stay tuned for the next show that comes out. Thank you ever so much for everybody for tuning in all throughout the season. We really appreciate it. And don't forget to like the video, subscribe to our YouTube channel, give us 5 stars to get your podcast from, and don't forget to follow us on social media platforms, OverFootball Pod and OverFootball P, Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok. Baz, have I remembered everything?
I believe so, yeah.
Thanks, mate. I'm happy. That's good. And goodbye for now. Good luck in the cup final.
Yeah, goodbye. I'm going to be pumping iron, ready to lift that cup.
And Scott, good luck in your cup finals that you're in your other leagues.
Yeah, thanks. Got 3 to win. I've really had to graft to get there as well. And and then there's Baz. But anyway, good luck, Baz.
Good luck, guys, and I'm going to really enjoy having absolutely nothing to play for, and it'll be a goodbye from me.
Well, you have because really quickly you're in danger of finishing bottom out of all of us, so you've definitely got something to play for.
I think what my
even the podcast are beating you.
Are they now? Are they beating me as well? Oh my!
I don't know.
God.
I'm joking. They probably are. Though, to be honest.
I've got.
I don't know. I'm ahead of you though. So.
Do you know what I might do? I've got a free hit left. I might just go different to you two and see if I can pass you. That's my thing to play for.
Go all under one. Stuff it worked for me in the thing, so why not?
Oh God. No, thing is, I'll probably just go like 2 players different to you and just hoping they have great games. Anyway, right. Yeah, hope you all have fun playing what you've got to play for, and I'm going to come last, so-called FPL Guru. Goodbye for now.